Welcome back to Joe Stunner Boxing. How are you doing? Thank you for joining me again. If you're new to the channel and you could subscribe, I'd appreciate that a great deal. Trying to build up the channel. If you've already subscribed and you're coming back for more, much love to you. Really appreciate any support you can give. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. We'll build the channel up. Okay, so listen. I wanted to talk very briefly, this is probably going to be quite a short video, on the subject of pay-per-view. Now if you've watched videos of mine before, if you know me a little bit, you'll know that I don't do pay-per-views. I'm not interested. I haven't bought a pay-per-view for 26 years, 27 years, something like that. I just don't believe in it. I think it's squeezing the rag dry. I think it's taking unnecessary amounts of money out of hardcore boxing fans. And the question has been for some time now, I think really since DAZN came on the scene, is pay-per-view dying? Well, pay-per-view in America is definitely under the cosh, because it was revealed through several sources that the Charles Martin Luis Ortiz fight did less than 25,000 buys. Less than 25,000 buys. So let's say it did do 25,000, and in America it was $40 a pop, which is a big drop from what they normally pay. They get fleeced to the bone in America. It's shocking, and why on earth they still put up with it and buy these pay-per-views, especially those stupid, Mayweather exhibitions and the McGregor-Mayweather match, all that crap. They get fleeced. But they reduced it to $40 and no one bought it, or only 25,000 people bought it. Well, that's only $1 million. 25,000 times 40, it comes to $1 million. And that card was a heavyweight showdown. I think there were 4 or 5 heavyweight fights on there. It was actually a pretty good card. It wasn't pay-per-view worthy, but as entertainment-wise, it was fine. But nobody bought it because I think people have had enough. Because pay-per-view used to be, the last time I bought one, I think it was either the first or second Tyson Holyfield fight. And then with the advent of the internet and technology, you're able to stream these things. I've got no problem with streaming them at all. No problem at all. I don't feel a shred of guilt with, if you want to rip me off, if you want to elevate boxing to the point where I have to pay through the nose, I'm going to use technology to get my own back at you. I've got no problem at all with streaming fights. And for those that say, well, you're taking money out of boxing, can I just remind you, I'm in my mid-50s, okay? And I've spent well over 40 years putting money into boxing, going to small hall shows and, supporting grassroots boxing. So I don't give a fuck what people say about, well, you're taking money out of boxers. But no, I'm not. Well, I suppose technically I am. I'm taking money out of already very wealthy fighters' pockets, maybe. So, in the case of, let's take the obvious examples, which are, your Mayweathers, your Joshuas, your Tyson Furies, in my opinion, they shouldn't be paid 30, 40, 50 million dollars for a fight. They shouldn't. Okay? They should make do with a paltry 5 or 10 million. Don't tell me any fighter deserves to get $50 million. They don't. And I don't believe in the sort of so-called free market. I believe in the fair market. I believe that things should be regulated. I don't believe in laissez-faire capitalism. Okay, so if you want to play that game, if you want to try and fleece me, I'm going to use technology to take what I can back from you. And don't even get me started on the subject of how these wealthy corporations dodge tax. All right, every penny I've put into boxing has been hard-earned from me, from doing my jobs. I work in the care industry at the moment. I have done for some years. But when I get my pay packet, if I decide to put something back into grassroots boxing, I'd rather do that than give it to some already vastly wealthy fighter or some promoter. But anyway, pay-per-view. Getting back to the original subject, 25,000 pay-per-views. You can't carry on with that. That can't be, economically sustainable to any degree. So I don't know what PBC are going to do now. Maybe Eddie Hearn was right to some degree. I don't know. I think pay-per-view in some form or other will always exist, but the idea that in America they can get away with 50, even $50, never mind $100 for a pay-per-view. Those days are hopefully coming to an end, and not before time. And all you American fans of boxing who've been forking out through your nose for these pay-per-views, $100 a pop, why you haven't put your foot down before, I do not know. I know, quite a few American boxing fans, and they've never given me a straight answer. God bless them, I love them, but you've been fleeced and you're a mug. You're like sheep trotting into the slaughterhouse. Give up pay-per-view. I'm glad this flopped. Okay, it wasn't a bad card. Respect to the fighters, but it made $1 million at a pay-per-view. You split that up amongst all those fighters. It's not going to be that much. So Al Haymon and PBC are under the cosh, I think, as far as this is concerned. They're going to have to find a new model, because that's not sustainable at all. And I think probably, because of a few people who did generate colossal amounts of money, Mayweather being the obvious one, I think there was this mindset, especially in America, well, everyone can do it. No, they can't. You've got to build yourself up. Mayweather had basically had two careers. He was Pretty Boy Floyd, where he was very, very entertaining, very brilliant. And as he got older, he kind of amended his style and became Money Mayweather and, boxed a lot more. He was at a higher weight. But the point is, he built himself up as a fighter. He built himself up as an established fighter who beat good men. The last time he was the B-side was against De La Hoya, and he won that fight. Close fight, but he won it. I thought he won it. Okay. So then he became the A-side, and then he exploited the whole, various, demographics of fan. He was able to channel into that. He's a good businessman. If it's all about making money, regardless of how you make it, he's a good businessman. But not everyone can do that. And I think in America they're discovering that now. And hopefully in Britain they will realise that as well before other people start getting funny ideas about how much they can charge. So, yeah, I'm delighted that this pay-per-view failed. I hope they all fail. I hope people boycott them. I don't hold with this bullshit idea that, you've got to... we've got to have pay-per-view, astronomical prices in order to make these fights. No, you don't. I'm all for fighters making money, but don't take the piss. You don't need... Tyson Fury does not need $50 million, another $50 million. He can make do. I know he's got a lot of kids, but he can make do with 20 million or even 10 million, right? Because that's more money than the rest of us are ever going to see in our lives. And yeah, I know these are special athletes and they sacrifice an awful lot. I've got nothing but respect for people who get in the ring, but don't tell me that they have to earn just astronomical amounts of money. They can survive on a lot less, all right? And maybe some of that money that is made through pay-per-view, does any of it actually go back into grassroots boxing, keeping the sport alive? Very, very rarely. Especially during these times of the pandemic and lockdowns and all that other crap. So yeah, let me know your thoughts below. Let me know what you think. Maybe you disagree, maybe you agree. I don't mind either way. But I'd like to hear your thoughts. Again, thank you very much for listening to this video. Please subscribe if you can. I'd really like to build the channel up, get a nice little boxing community going. And thank you again. Much love to all of you. And I'll speak to you soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.